Farhan Fronchak. She was my colleague at RT America before it closed, and we were both cruelly thrown out of work, but we haven't been silenced. If that was their intention, they haven't silenced us. In fact, Farhan, you've been on screen more since they closed RT America than you were at the time. Tell us first how you're doing. Where can people stay in touch with your tremendous output?
Well, so you can follow me pretty much anywhere on Fair and Balanced, F-A-R-A-N, Balanced. But I'm actually now the co-host of Fault Lines on Sputnik Radio at 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, where we talk everything from politics to Ukraine to social issues, what have you. So it's been a blast. I've always loved long-form media. But how do people,
Sputnik Radio has been cancelled also. So how do people follow that online?
So rumble.com/faultlines. Surprisingly, like the other shows like Political Misfits and The Backstory haven't been taken off of YouTube. It was just Fault Lines. So I don't know if my face had anything to do with it. I don't know. But it was the only one taken down on YouTube. So we've moved over to Rumble. Again, rumble.com/faultlines.
Well, I would take that as a compliment, Farhan. They obviously wanted to close down the best. I've been talking to a number of very clever Americans from Louisiana, from California, all over the U.S. In the course of the last 3 hours. Some startling clarity from them. But they all report that the state of mass hysteria unleashed by the Western media and the political class is still holding up there. Is that how it looks to you?
Absolutely. And actually, I would tell you it's even gotten worse. Worse in the way that the other part that's coming in with mass hysteria, we're seeing a little bit of what we saw back in 2016 with the distraction of certain social issues. For example, one of the biggest one being transgenders here. You had Leah Thomas, who was a male, transitioned to a female. She came in to the NCAA women's swimming competition, wiped the floor of all the natural-born females that were swimmers there. The NCAA let her win the championship. You have girls that were actually calling, biological female girls calling for them to boycott competing against her. Suddenly, all of their Twitter accounts were shut down. Then you also have a funny satire site, the Babylon Bee, where they had put out, it was Rachel Levine, who was the head of one of the health departments here. They put out that she won Man of the Year, a very on-the-nose joke. They have gotten suspended from Twitter. So you have a lot of these social issues coming up, again, also with race. You have Ketanji Brown Jackson, who right now is testifying to be the next Supreme Court in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee. And everything now has devolved into race again. And so you not only are you dealing with anti-Russia hysteria, then you have transgender issues, then you have race issues, then you have the price of gas, which people cannot afford. So you have a lot of just major problems going on. And then here, being in Washington, D.C., everything is just la, 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 la. Life goes on when people are clearly struggling. You mentioned the first hour. Excuse me, I have several cats, or just two. But you have people, or here around D.C., right outside of Congress. You have tent cities happening. And you said last hour that people could be educated. We could end homelessness. But we choose to spend it on the military-industrial complex, which is just insanely sad at this point.
Well, the politicians choose to do so, but the people keep choosing the politicians. So, in a sense, you get the government that you vote for. Might not be the government you deserve, but you get the government that you vote for. Is there any sign that the catastrophic conduct of public affairs in America is leading to anything new in American politics?
You know, George, a lot of times you have these politics that run on, for example, you had Trump that was the outsider, and you had a lot of people that bought onto that whole I'm the outsider. Then you had the new wave after Trump of we're going to restore the soul of the nation. And you had that coming from Biden and many of the Democrats. And now people are looking and they're like, wait a minute, we thought we were just going to go back to normal before Trump. this is even worse than what we thought. So you have these politicians that they're saying one thing and doing another, because I understand you're saying you vote the government that you get in. However, these folks are running on a pack of lives, on lies on both sides, really. So you do have November, though. We have the midterms coming in, and they're talking about more of a red wave than we saw in 2012 with the Tea Party movement. So I think you're going to see a lot of nastiness in politics. And frankly, again, Americans are just worried about their gas bill, their how much they're paying in gas, if they can afford their groceries, because now it's gotten to the point, George, where it's a decision for not many families, almost all families. Do I choose the electric, or do my kids have to go hungry for the next couple of days? It's really sad.
Yeah, November, I mean, one thing you're not short of in the United States is elections. You can be sure who's going to lose them, the ordinary people, but you're not short of elections, so you're not short of opportunities to make a change. Now, I think a lot of people are going to vote, particularly where Trump has effectively picked the Republican candidate. A lot of people are going to go red, which in Britain would mean go left, but in America means go right. I think a lot of people are going to vote Republican, especially for the candidates closely aligned with Trump. Is that how you see it?
That's exactly how I'm seeing it. And you know what else I'm seeing with the far right? Or when I say far right, I mean the Trumpers, not your actual, your regular everyday Republicans and then your neocon liberals. You're seeing the far left and the far right coming together very much like how it was in 2016. But you're not only seeing the far left and right come together on that issue, you're seeing them come together on Russia. You're seeing them start to ask questions. Wait a minute. Why is it that we care about Ukraine? Why is it that everybody all of a sudden feels that they have to put a Ukrainian flag up in the window when we just got through taking down our BLM posters for race? Now we have all of these problems again, these social issues, and dealing with all of this. And it's just, many people are what I think many people are really, really angry about, George, is there's no transparency in all of this. Say what you will about Trump. The guy always tweeted exactly what he thought, whether it was Covfefe or whether it was, I hate China. This week I hate China. We don't like China this week. However, you always knew what he thought. You have Biden now where we don't know if we bring him out on puppet strings and he's just made to say this and say that. And then he goes away for the weekend and we're all just like, wait a minute, what is going on? And then you have Jen Psaki, who gets COVID for the second time. Wait a minute, we thought COVID ended the night of the State of the Union.
Third time. Third time.
Yeah, third time.
She's triple vaxxed and triple stricken by COVID.
Right.
Joe was going to end the pandemic, wasn't he?
Well, apparently it ended the exact same night as the State of the Union. So thank goodness that the cameras were able to see everybody with their masks off. But now with Joe Biden going to Brussels and then on to Poland, Jen Psaki mysteriously gets COVID. Then you have Hillary Clinton, who all of a sudden gets COVID, and she's asking people, give me some movie ideas so while I stay in all weekend. And boy, did she get trolled, George. It was that I will say is part of the American psyche, where we still can jab and troll people, some of our politicians. We still have our humor, thank goodness. But yeah, it's just a lot of confusion, and there's
Obama's also now got COVID. It seems like it's a thing.
Were they all at a party together and we weren't invited? What happened?
maybe we shouldn't get too deeply into that, Farron. It's wonderful to see you again. Please stay in touch. Thanks for joining us on the mother of all talk shows.